Works written from Charleston poets will come to life through enchanting musical compositions thanks to our guests. Let's welcome back Leah Edwards, General Director for Halo, Holy City Arts and Lyric Opera, and Charleston's first Poet Laureate, Marcus Amaker. Welcome back, you two. And the world premiere of Singers and Stanzas is happening this Saturday. Let's start with you, Leah. How did this collaboration come about?
Well, Marcus and I met by phone during the pandemic. I had heard about, he had started writing opera librettos, the words for operas. And I reached out to him and said, hey, let's do something together. And so 3 years later, here we are. We had said, let's start with something smaller. Operas are a pretty giant place to start. And so I wanted to make sure he's such a local collaborator. And so I wanted him to help us get some poetry going and local poets. And we brought in our faction of composers and just wanted to make sure that we could start to create, combining our artistic forces to create something new.
Yeah, and Marcus, you're no stranger to music. You've been making it since you were just 10 years old. So this must have felt like a natural fit. So maybe you could tell us a bit more about how music and poetry really go hand in hand.
Yeah, well, for me particularly, I believe that poetry is rhythm. That's my definition of it. So for me, when I was younger, I remember I didn't really read that much poetry, but I listened to a lot. And for me, it's all about the rhythm, the silences in between words. So when I write, it's very musical. So I'm always trying to find ways for poems to be dressed up in different clothes. So I think opera is a lovely way to express the written word. And, you know, poetry can be rock and roll, it can be electronic music, all types of things. So, but opera really makes sense because it's such a vocal experience, just like spoken word is.
Indeed. So. How many poets are participating and where are they all from?
Yeah, we have 4 poets. Most of them are from the area around here. So yeah, we have one from Columbia and the others are from here in the Charleston area.
I love how you've made it such a localized endeavor. Leah, maybe you can share a bit about the composition, the musical composition, and that process of matching the music with the words.
Yeah, well, it comes from a genre called art song that was really in sort of a 19th century, late 19th century genre, because that used to happen in people's homes. It was a much more intimate setting, and the words of novels and things like that used to be set. Composers would take that source material to create classical vocal works. And so this is really an art song recital, which is a little bit of a dated art form that is making a resurgence. And so we're trying to be on the cutting edge of making art, art song recital come back. But it really is so much about the storytelling, about using the words. Like Marcus said, it's about the rhythms and the emotions that you can create using musical lines. It's not about one being more powerful than the other. It's about finding how the rhythm of the words naturally lends itself to these musical lines and then creating the harmonic structure underneath that gives all of the emotional content that's so it's a marriage of the words and the music as opposed to one being more important than the other.
Right. And when you talk about a marriage of the two, did we start with one thing and then add, say, the music after, or was it completely collaborative where the music and the poetry was being created simultaneously?
It was kind of both, but I think the way this process worked, I know a lot of poets and composers do this differently, and I can let Marcus speak to that too. For this process, we had the poets create their poems first, And then we brought in the composer, and then she worked one-on-one over Zoom with each of the poets to really get the essence. She had them all read their own works to give an idea of exactly the direction and their intention behind it.
We only have a couple of seconds left, but Marcus, maybe you could share a couple of the themes that are going to be featured this Saturday.
Yeah, we're going to talk about love, which I think is the theme, right? So yeah, we all have different angles of what love is, and I chose to write about just radical acceptance. Loving yourself can be the toughest curriculum that we have. So I wrote about that.
Wonderful. Well, you're also going to be announcing your mid-May season, so we're going to have you come back to talk about that after the break. Hold Fast to Dreams. That's going to be performed. I want to thank you both so much for joining us.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
Make sure you get out to the Dock Street Theater this Saturday. We're back after this.